What's up, Donnie? What's going on, Josie?
What's going on, Josie?
What's up?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm going to give it like 2 seconds to see if anybody else wants to hop in. But how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I mean, just chilling at my apartment.
Yeah,
Quarantined, obviously, like the rest of us.
true. All
What have
right.
you been?
Well,
You want to get into it?
yeah, I haven't been up to much. Let's get into it. So this is Live at 5 with Dylan Kattengell. Today I have on Josie Williamson, who is the Ducks women's basketball team manager and photographer. So she is obviously extremely plugged in with the team, and we are so happy to have you on today. Thank you so much for coming on, Josie.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. You want to tell us a little bit about what you do with the team, a little bit about your role and kind of what you do around there.
Yeah, so I am kind of all over the place. I do some stuff with equipment. I do a lot of stuff on the court, practices, things like that. And I also do photography and some stuff with social media. Um, yeah,
Which one
kind
of
of.
those little aspects is your favorite?
I definitely like the stuff on the court, being involved with the team and practices and everything like that.
For sure. So the first question I got for you being around the team, obviously last year there was a plethora of success and it was ended, but it went all the way through a Final Four and Oregon's first women's Final Four led by Sabrina Ionescu and squad. What was it like this year, the 2019-2020 energy, coming off such a successful season and kind of having that momentum to propel you into 2020?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of hype definitely coming into this year, especially after Sabrina's, unfinished business, letter to Duck Nation. I think that after Tampa last year, we were all obviously heartbroken the way that our season ended. But we are all also hopeful for this year. And starting the season, I mean, obviously everyone's working in the off season to get ready for this year. And we started off with the Team USA game, and I think that was a great way to kind of start our season.
I agree. And before we hop into that, which was for me one of the most exciting parts of the Ducks season for sure, was as you just mentioned, the letter to Duck Nation. And for me, I remember this because I was walking around campus at University of Oregon, and I started getting a bunch of texts on my phone. I actually exited class and I was looking at my phone, and there was just so many. It said, "She's back. She's coming back. Senior year, she's staying." And no one said, I remember no one said the word Sabrina. It was, but we all knew it was a huge, I mean, because there was such a huge question mark and obviously her greatness. And I just remember everyone just so happy on campus just to, that letter dropped and everyone read it. And it was so emotional for Ducks fans about what, why the University of Oregon was important to her and what she felt like she could accomplish in a senior year. So my question to you, obviously that sparked a lot of emotion and kind of, I hope to show that it, for people that maybe weren't there, what it was kind of like. For you, did the team know? Did you know? Obviously, there's a clip of her, after the loss. Have you thought about next year? I don't know. And, so there's, there was question marks. Did the team know she was coming back? Did you know she was coming back? What was it like when that dropped? Was that a secret or was it still awesome if it wasn't? What was that like?
No one really knew. Sabrina didn't even really know. I mean, she said in interviews, like, she was just kind of sitting on a bench with her family and she just kind of decided to come back. I remember I was laying in my bed and I saw the article came out that she wrote, or the letter to Duck Nation. So I the whole time thinking like she probably would come back. I was hoping she would come back, but no one really knew. It was all kind of a surprise to us too. Obviously, we were all very excited about that. I was kind of the same thing. I remember where I was. I was laying in bed. I was super excited. Like,
Yeah.
um, it was, yeah, it's
That,
exciting.
I mean, that energy around a team too, obviously, because the college window is so short and, she was a projected first pick in the WNBA draft even after that year. So there was no question marks with her ability to perform, at the next level. So I'm sure that energy, around the team, knowing that they had, potentially, and especially in some other, teammates, who are, Ruthie and Sachi, who didn't have a ton of years of eligibility left. I'm sure that was a huge, sigh of relief almost to know that they were coming back as fully loaded as possible.
Absolutely. And I think too, like Sab and Ruthie obviously they're kind of the dynamic duo. So I think we're all kind of wanting to see them finish.
Dirtiest pick and roll in college sports, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then the season starts, and there's an exhibition game against Team USA preseason, and it brings 12,400 people, packed house, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a college team having to compete against the best American women's basketball players there are. So what's the energy in the locker room? What can Coach Graves possibly tell the women to get them energized, knowing that they're going to have to go out there against a death squad? And, what was it like in the locker room knowing that we got some different cats out there on the court today. Like, this is going to be different. What was that like pregame in the locker room?
Well, honestly, the whole weekend was just different than normal. We had the Q&A with Diana. It was just like a lot of hype around it. So I think obviously the energy in the arena was a little bit different than normal. We prepared for it the same way that we prepared for every game. Our team is really big on one game at a time. And I think that kind of helped us keep our, nerves down, I guess.
Sure.
Because, you're playing against the best players in the world. But our team went into the game so poised. And I think that really helped us because we came off right away, played strong.
I remember being in the arena, and I believe Ruthie was the first one to score a bucket, and I think it was on a roll to the hoop, and I still remember watching the video recaps and watching it on Snapchat, and you can't hear anything because it's so loud with just applause and eruption. The energy in there was crazy. So did you prepare for that game like you would a normal game, watching tape as you would, getting ready as, through warm-ups, call it the 3 days before, walkthroughs, all that kind of stuff? Was that how you would handle any other game?
Yeah, they did everything the same. I think the only thing that was really different was we have our shoot-arounds in the mornings on game days, and the Team USA had their warm-up right before their shoot-around right before ours, so then everybody met and talked before our shoot-around. So there was definitely more interaction with the team. And then obviously you have the best names in basketball there, so
right.
There was more interaction with teams than normal, I would say. But besides that, there was still film, there was still our shoot-arounds, practices. I think we prepared how we normally would.
So in the Team USA game, the game starts and the energy in the arena is incredible, and knowing Sabrina's mentality towards the game, I'm sure there was, the rest of the team as well, there was a confidence going into it. But from a fan's perspective or from an outsider's perspective, Team USA hasn't lost an exhibition since '99. They've won 45. I believe they had lost one game in their last 45 games. So there's no shot for Oregon. So the game starts, and by halftime, we got a close game on our hands. What's the energy in the halftime locker room? Oh shit, this is close. We're here. This is Team USA. Sabrina has game face the whole time. Obviously, we just saw her drop 33 points in this game. What was it like at halftime, watching the first half transpire in such a competitive game on the court, and obviously the energy growing and growing and growing to halftime? What was it like, in the halftime locker room, or kind of knowing you could, there's 20 minutes of basketball left and we're right there?
Yeah. I think they did really focus on just 20 more minutes because we had played such a strong first half. And I think our team really focused on keeping our poise, and not, getting in our head or letting the nerves get in the way of it, because we were playing great basketball. It was our first game. Usually you don't have a huge first game like that. So the energy was definitely intense, but I think our team just knew to keep our poise, and to not, get in their heads or anything.
And then as the game transpires down the stretch, there's an iconic shot. Sabrina left wing, hits a sidestep, kind of step back, and one in her fashion, mid-range, off the glass, technical as all hell, gets fouled in the process, and comes up with an energy off the floor that sent 12,400 people into a frenzy. Well, I mean, there's a minute and a half left, a minute left. What's it like sitting on the bench, watching the time dwindle down, to a win versus Team USA?
I think we were all just kind of looking around at each other like, is this really happening right now? I think we were all kind of in shock too. I mean, Stanford and OSU had played them prior, so our goal kind of going in was keep it within 20 points. So for us to be looking around like this is actually happening right now, and I think too, especially when Sabrina hit that shot, I mean, we were all obviously super hyped.
Yeah. After that game, there's a great quote from Coach Graves that I think encapsulates it very well, and he says, "It's an incredible show. I for a fact know they wish their arenas looked like this. This was really neat. 12,400 fans out there, and they were engaged. I thought we gave everyone a great show tonight. I think it's great for women's athletics. I think it's great for the University of Oregon. I think it's great for college basketball. This was an awesome night. It may not be duplicated anywhere in the country what we saw tonight." And thinking about that, the amount of talent that was on the court, Ruthie Satu, obviously the transfer, Minion Moore, Sabrina, the bench, Taylor Shaw. I mean, so many players on the team contributed, obviously. But this might not be duplicated again. Was that something that you guys were able to wrap your heads around potentially after this, that we really did something historic tonight?
Yeah, I think after the game, we definitely were all in shock for a little bit. I mean, happy, shocked, everything. But I think mainly we're just hopeful for the rest of the season and what the team would be able to accomplish. But, I mean, I think something so special about this team was the way that they were able to capture the attention of, obviously, Eugene. The community was great here. But also we had eyes on us from all over the world, like country, right, everything. Like, our team really helped put women's basketball on the map. And I think that game kind of set our season off to really do that this year, which I think was so special about our team, and what people remember us for is how we really contributed to women's basketball.